Hi, it's Frankie Love, and today we're going to be talking about the NMAT. So, if you don't know what the NMAT is, NMAT stands for National Medical Admission Test. So basically, this is an admission test for people who want to study medicine in the Philippines. So, I know there's a similar exam like that in the States, which is the MCAT, but I don't know what other exams are like that. But this one is the Philippines, so if you're watching this for MCAT advice, I suggest to look somewhere else because I don't know how similar or how different the NMAT and the MCAT is. Okay, so the NMAT is basically an exam that you have to take because certain medical schools require you to have an NMAT score of a certain range. If you want more information about the NMAT, I will leave the website where you actually register for it or apply for it. And if you want to know other schools with a certain NMAT score, I will also leave it down in the description below. But yeah, basically it's an IQ test and a pilot test. Now if you don't know what a pilot test is, I just made that up. But basically it compares your grades, your score of what you got from the said IQ test to other people. So if you got higher than some other guy, then you will rank higher in the percentile rank than him. So yeah, that is the NMAT, the long and the short of it. So what you need to know about the NMAT, there are two parts. The first part is the verbal, inductive reasoning, quantitative, and perpetual equity. So for the verbal, if you're a bookworm like me, then you won't really have a hard time because, well, it's basically analogy of words and comparing, and you have to be and reading comprehension. Basically, you're just going to read stories and articles and then you're going to answer the questions. Now, if you are not a bookworm like me, if you're just a regular person who, goes on YouTube to look at videos, which is also me, but doesn't read, my suggestion is to practice on your reading skills and how fast you can read because time is of the essence. Because the last time I took my NMAT, well, actually the first time I took my NMAT, I got a bad score because I did not check the time and I did not study properly. Full disclosure, my first NMAT score was 51 because I didn't bother studying and I didn't have time to study, I guess. Also, I didn't check the time when I was taking said NMAT. Also, I guessed, which is also a bad thing. But the second time I took the NMAT, I got an 84, so I know what I'm talking about now. Now I know what I'm talking about. So going back, if you're not a bookworm like I am, just practice on reading articles, read them as quickly as you can. There's actually an NMAT review kit. You can find it in National Bookstore. There's actually 6 books. Yeah, because there's like physics, chemistry, biology, and the quantitative with the perpetual inductive reasoning and the mirror images, and the 2 NMAT reviewers that you can use, which is also a good thing which is also good because you can use that for reviewing. As for your vocabulary, I know some Filipinos don't really speak English that much, but if you can check your dictionary app, there's actually a word of the day that you can learn a new word every day, which is good. It's just basically you just want to expand your vocabulary. The NMAT reviewers that I mentioned before also helps. I think I can leave a description down below, a link about the NMAT reviewers. But yeah, also another tip for the reading comprehension, what I did was read the questions first and then read the article just to see what answer I'm looking for. It saves a lot of time and it really helps. The second one is the inductive reasoning, which I'm gonna pair up with the perpetual equity because they are basically the same advice that I'm gonna give. Is just a lot of practice. I know a lot of people don't take it seriously because it's just shapes and mirror images and seeing what pattern comes next. But if you practice a lot, it makes you go faster. It makes you answer questions a bit faster and a bit better. And again, time is of the essence. The first time I took the exam, I didn't have enough time. which again, I got a low score because of it. That and among other reasons. And the last one that I'm gonna mention in the first part is the quantitative reasoning. So basically just brush up on your college algebra, your trigonometry, and just a lot of the math things. Again, you'll find that in the review word. You can see if you have issues like word problems like I do, because I'm really good at math. It's just when it comes to word problems, I go, eh. But yeah, I had my brother help me on that, and that's also another thing. You can also ask somebody who is good in math, especially in word problems, to help you. Another tip for the quantitative reasoning, you know that sometimes there's an answer for something, and you can see it on the multiple choices. What I do sometimes is replace said multiple choices with the answer on the given formula. And this is very useful on the ratios, like, oh, if this is this, and then this is that, you'll figure it out with the ratio. You know what I mean, the one with the 2 dots. Okay, so the second part is biology, physics, chemistry, and social science. I think that's the pattern, but I suggest just to brush up. I highly recommend using Crash Course because it's very entertaining, and 2, it's very helpful to brush up on your things. But there are some links down in the description below to study for physics, for chemistry, for biology. For biology, most students who are taking the NMAT are actually either biology students or students who have a lot of biology classes, like nursing students or people like that. But just brush up on your biology. Again, use Crash Course. Again, very useful. Very useful channel. I highly recommend them. For your physics, I just recommend you to memorize some formulas because there are certain times that you will have to calculate on your own. Also, I forgot to point out, the NMAT does not allow calculators. They just give you a piece of blank paper and that's where you calculate. So good luck with that. Yeah. The first time I told a friend of mine about this, she was very shocked and she was not happy about it. Next up is for chemistry. Again, there's a link down in the description below. Just brush up on your chemistry and make sure that everything's set in order. I'm really good at chemistry. I didn't review that much for it because that's one of my favorite subjects. I didn't really review much for biology and chemistry. I did review, however, a lot for physics because even though I was good in math, I was not good at applying it. You know, those worlds don't collide for me for some reason. For social science, there's also a crash course on social science. There's also a crash course in physics, in biology, and chemistry. But there's also a crash course for social science. That one is fairly new. That one is more on psychology. If you're really good at studying human behavior and things like that, and studying about the community, then you're fine. Lastly, some tips and tricks in studying. Always find time to study for the NMAT. A lot of people require 3 months before the NMAT, which is what I did, which I actually gave up social media for a long time. For 3 months, I gave up social media except YouTube because most of my studies are in YouTube because of Crash Course. But yeah, for 3 months. I don't recommend you putting your NMAT first, especially if you're still in college. I don't want people to just give up on your college studies just to get a good score for NMAT because 1, you need to graduate to get to medical school, and 2, the NMAT is not as important as your grades because again, you need to graduate to get to medical school. Another tip of mine is when you do apply for the NMAT, they will send you a practice test, and I highly recommend that you use it because again, it helps you with your timing, and the practice test is as close as you can get to an actual test. And yes, you do have the NMAT reviewers, the one with the books, but that one is much more updated and can actually help and can actually give you the idea of what you are going to face during that day. Another tip of mine, if you do live far away from the testing areas, what I did was stay in a hotel the first and second time I stayed in a hotel or a friend's place and just commuted to the testing site. The other one is don't forget to bring water and food because you will have a hard time finding a place to eat. And another tip of mine is do not, and I repeat, do not cram because it does not help anyone. Also, do not guess because again, like I've pointed out so many times, it's a 25% chance that you'll get it right, and that's not a very high percentage. Some questions about the NMAT that I've heard from other people before. No, there is no essay. Yes, some of the proctors are strict. And yes, it is true what you heard of the last time people took the NMAT. They had to put their bags outside of the place. Which, again, I got really worried because my phone was in there and I thought I was gonna lose it. And the last thing I want to tell you, the viewer who's probably planning to take the NMAT, calm down. It's not, yes, it's a good thing that you want to get a high score, but it's not the end of the world if you don't. A person once told me your NMAT score doesn't really matter that much or what medical school you go into. What matters is how hard you work at it and how much you want to be a medical doctor. What matters in the end is how you are going to handle things. And I think that's the most important thing that people should remember about the NMAT. It's not the end of the world if you get a low score. There are other medical schools out there that don't require an NMAT score that high. And there are some medical schools out there that are very considerate about your NMAT score. Sometimes they will ask you to retake it, which is fine. You can agree to that. Or you can find another medical school that will take you in. But either way, it's your choice. And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video helps. And good luck to your exams. And I love you. Bye!